This is the Q&A and community video for December 2025. We're coming into the last month of the year for the community video and the Q&A. If you want to ask your questions, you can check down below in the description. First question is from Candace Shield, and they say, would you rather battle against 100 Paimons in a debate or against 100 Cynos in a pun and wordplay contest? I think that Cyno would be so adorable. They both would be very adorable, but I feel like the only reason I could beat Paimon in the debate is not because I'm smart and she's dumb or anything like that. I do think that if it was an official debate contest, she would be disqualified in the first 2 minutes. We know that Paimon would fight a broomstick if it made a loud noise. So I personally think that Paimon would literally get angry if she lost like the first round or the first 2 minutes, or if the judge said like, please behave, Paimon, and she'd be like, behave, and she started a big riot. So yeah, I think if it came down to it, I would be able to beat Paimon in a debate. Not because she would have better points there, because Paimon does have like great points. She's a great guide. She's great, really. And whether people like her or not, especially non-Karai, she's been so insightful. She's always the person that speaks up and asks questions and tries to get in more information. So yeah, I think that I'd be able to beat her in a debate only because I think that she would instantly get disqualified. I think she would instantly just be like, she would say something to make everyone be like, oh, get her out of here. Come on, get her out of here. Because again, she would just start an argument. With the stuff with Cyno, he would be so good at it and he'd have so many ready that I feel like it would be pretty impossible to beat him, right? It's like one of those things where you could prepare 20 puns and still Cyno would come back with 70. He's that type of character. So on an emotional level, I couldn't beat either of them because I think Cyno is so prepared for this stuff, while Paimon is also just someone who I feel like. But then Paimon can keep her cool when she needs to, but I feel like it's a situation where this is not life or death, so Paimon won't keep her cool, and I love her for that. I love that Paimon doesn't keep her cool. I love that she's a character that doesn't, keep her cool. I prefer Paimon angry. That's one of the things I was always if you want to think of Paimon's character, you can think of her as any way you want, but the legitimate way you always have to think of Paimon constantly is that she is sweet, lovely, funny, caring, and she's angry as heck. She's an angry character. So yeah, so I would beat Paimon easily because she would get disqualified after 2 minutes, and I would lose to Cyno because he would have too much ammunition, I think is the answer. Yeah, thank you, Candace. The next question is from Luna, and they say, consider all the games you played this year. If you had the chance to spend one day as an NPC in one of those games, which would it be? Are there any characters you would like to meet or events you would like to witness? That's interesting because the games that I played that are new this year, I don't know if you mean just the new ones, but I think that right now, all the games I played, there's some really big turmoil in them. Even now I'm playing the remaster of Tales of Xillia, and it's that's a terrifying game idea. You know what I mean? I want to be in the world of Tales of Xillia where there's war-torn stuff happening, civil war battles and stuff as well, really terrifying stuff with the Lance of Kresnik. It would be a really scary thing to even think of doing. But if I had to choose one, I think that I wouldn't mind going into the world of I wouldn't mind going into the world of probably, I know this is such a because people could be like, Calvin, of course you picked that world. Yeah, but it's I wouldn't mind going to the Xianzhou in Honkai Star Rail. And the reason I choose Xianzhou is not because it's a perfect place, not because it's not gonna be dangerous, is because I have a dream now of sitting at the edge of the Xianzhou where all the cafes are and just watching the artificial clouds and seeing everyone walk by and just drinking coffee with Fei Xiao, or drinking coffee with one of the other characters, it's such a great castle. There's great castle all over, of course, Honkai, but there's something just about that area. I would love to just sit there and sip on tea or coffee and just have a really great time. Other thoughts I would have is obviously I'd love to go to Liyue and Genshin. I would live in Liyue, no problem. It's such a beautiful place, such a gorgeous location. If you had a good job, you could just, after you'd finish your work, you'd sit out and look at the pier and stuff too, which is so stunning too. In terms of non-Hoyo games that I played this year, even on the channel, I think. I'm trying to think now. because a lot of the games I played, there's a lot of like very heartbreaking and horrible stuff happening in them constantly. A lot of very terrifying stuff happening constantly. I would like to. I think that, like, honestly, like, weirdly enough, like Last Defense Academy, while I wouldn't want to be in that world for too long, if you said like you could be there for a day on the day there's no attacks, no battles, it would be kind of interesting to, like, you know, join in on one of the debates on, like, you know, what are they going to do next, what are they going to do. But, like, even though I wouldn't have much insight, it'd be interesting to see, like, you know, up close, like, how, like, everyone's, like, you know, feeling that tension and all this stuff too, even though it would be probably very upsetting too. But also, like, you know, I think I'd be laughing my head off. Like, I don't know how, like, again, because from the outside, like us, we're like, we laugh at some of the jokes they make, but, like, to them, it's like a very terrifying situation sometimes. And it is, there's so many terrifying things happen in that game. But I feel like I'd be splitting my sides laughing at that too. Yeah, so my answer would be like something like the Zian Show in terms of games I played this year. I'd love to go to places in Tales of Xillia, but again, it's like very like I feel like over time, like, yeah, no, actually, I'm only there for a day, so yeah, Tales of Xillia, yeah, like 100%. If I'm only there for a day, right? That's what the question was: is only there for a day? Yeah, it's one day. I wouldn't feel drained by anything. I wouldn't feel like the stuff of the war. I just go to, like, you know, Fenmont. And, like, look at the beautiful city, you know, go, you know, the unbelievably well lit, you know, trees. Like, it'd be a really gorgeous thing to do there. Yeah, but, like, yeah, my things always, like, center on that. In terms of the characters I like to meet, I said, like, the characters of the Zian Show, but, like, in terms of, like, Tales of Xillia, there's so many characters there that probably wouldn't even give me the time of day because, again, they're not, like, it's not like I can join their party so quickly, but, like, you know, with meeting all those characters would be great as well. I adore them. In terms of characters I'd like to meet in games this year, honestly, I would love to see the No I'm Not a Human cast in, like, a more pleasant light, I guess, like in a light where they're not, you know, in an apocalypse, you know, to see how they were, what they were like, what their perspectives were like before that. But yeah, that would be my answer to that as well. Thank you so much, Luna. The next question is from Malcolm Conde. I recently watched the Danganronpa 3 anime since the new game is coming soon, and was wondering if you consider doing a reaction to it and putting it on Patreon, like that one with the One Piece. I think you're really missing out on getting to see those conclusions to the story of Danganronpa 1 and 2. Casts as well as closure on the loose ends of the series. I feel like it's so linked to your channel. I'm sure many of us would love to see you react to it as well. Yeah, I 100%. I know people definitely want to see me react to it for sure. It's really one of those situations where, like, every time, like, I didn't get to react to it is always, like, timing and, like, you know, the way like where I was in terms of, like, my, like, timing. That's all it is. It's timing. And, like, you know, because every week where I think I'm gonna have more time now, I, like, don't for some reason. Like, something happens with a video that, like, extends longer, something's longer than I thought it was going to be. And it's one of those situations where, like, I like, I just don't, I don't always have the time to do it. I'd have to, like, carve out a schedule to be able to, like, do it fully. Because I know when people say, well, it's only one episode a week. And yeah, that, if it wasn't one episode a week, that'd be, like, you know, would be, like, pretty grand. Like, I could watch one episode a week on that as well. Yeah, I could watch one episode a week. But it's one of those situations, again, where it's like just finding the right timing for it, and, you know, also the motivation to do it as well, because I don't usually watch anime for the channel, but, like, I think it's something that, like, you know, people have requested for a while for me to watch anime and stuff like that too. It's definitely not a situation where I think I doubted, like, that it's like a really important thing. People have been saying it's important for a while, so, like, it's one of those things where, like, how can I not believe people with that? But it's also a situation is like, yeah, it just was timing all the time. It was just finding the right way to do it. Yeah, the One Piece thing, I think definitely, like, I watched one episode of One Piece on Patreon, just, like, the first episode, just for fun. That was a day where I remember, like, legitimately, like, you know, it was, like, people were like, oh, yeah, Danganronpa. You know, hey, Danganronpa time. Because it is, like, it does make sense to do it in that format, I guess, as well. And it was, like, you know, a really fun thing to do. And people would have to sync it up or whatever at the same time also. Yeah, like, there's not really, like, an argument I have to be like, no, never doing that. I never would say that. But it's always just like, you know, once I start, I would like to commit to it. So I want to make sure that I'm in a space where, like, it's not, like, a really heavy time. And I also don't want to promise anything, because then if I promise stuff and then I don't do it, then I feel terrible. That's why I try never promise anything. As you guys probably see in videos, I always make sure to be like, no, we're not promising anything. We're just, we might do this. If I do promise something, or I say that we're going to do something, it's usually because I know for sure, like, we're going to do this. I think that's, like, obviously, like, a better way of doing it, instead of, because what happens is, like, you know, people lose trust in you 100%. But there's no real heavy reason why I wouldn't watch this. The only thing is the timing. That's all it is. It's finding the right time. And, like, once I watch it, it's one of those situations where it's a rolling ball where, like, if I do it, I want to be able to do it every week. every single week I want to be able to watch the Danganronpa stuff to get a read. Because again, it will take like, what, there's like 20 episodes. It will take like 20 weeks. So there's like a thing where we will like, you know, do it that way. And people might be like 2 videos a week. I think doing 1 video a week wouldn't be like, it would mean that there's like no pressure. You know what I mean? There's no pressure about it as much as there is. The only pressure would be like having to keep up with it once a week. But again, it's all about timing. Right now we're doing like so much stuff. Like it's crazy the amount of stuff we're doing right now in terms of like all the playthroughs doing the Archon quests and Genshin and you know, the Lantern Rites coming up and then all this stuff. And there will be more lull time, so we will think about it in that sense too. And it would be like a really cool thing for the Patreon as well to have like it there too. You might be like, Cal, why don't you upload it to YouTube as well, just like that? And I could do that too. Like it's 100% not a big of a deal, but it's one of those situations as well where like I think what I would do is I would upload it weekly to Patreon and then release a playlist, release the first video and then put a playlist in the description of like all the videos. So they're like on a listed so people can see them. Because it's one of those situations where I already upload like so many videos every week that I don't want to upset the flow of the channel at this point as well. Because then we basically would be taking away the break that Wednesday is as well. Yeah, but yeah, Malcolm, 100%. There's nothing wrong. I hope it doesn't make it sound I'm like, oh, I have to do it. It's just like, yeah, it's timing and there's nothing against doing it 100%. And I know people would want to see it as well. Yeah. Zevias, hello, Romer. Happy holidays. If you're getting cold there because of the seasons, I hope you are staying warm, cozy and warm. Thank you. Speaking of holiday seasons, did you have a favorite or memorable gift you received during the holidays, or was there a gift that you were very proud of or giving or making? P.S. I don't know how much I can yap in the Q&A section, so you can cut this out and read on your own time, or your own. But seriously, thank you for your being quite a fun highlight of my 2025. May you conquer 2026 even more, Romer, and may your endeavors be fruitful and amazing like you. That's so sweet to say. I'm happy to be part of anyone's time. You know, for me, like, it's one of those situations where, like, I love Smosh and I love channels like that, and I invite them into you invite them into your home and your life for, like, an hour. And it really means the world to me to have channels there for myself. So if I can be like that to anybody, that's awesome. That's such an incredible feeling. And I appreciate you saying that so much, Sevi. That has warmed my heart and, like, you know, will make me have so much energy as we're going forward with the day as well. Thank you so much. And if there's a gift that I remember specifically, when I was, like, a teenager, my parents asked me what I wanted, and I said like a DVD set of like this, I forget the actual comedy series itself. It might have been like, you know, The Office or something like that. I wanted like an Office box set, because at the time, like, you know, you're probably like, Calvin, like, you know, how old are you? I legitimately, I like, even when I was like, I didn't have internet for a long time. Like, it was just a thing. I just didn't have internet for a long time. So like I watched like DVDs and movies and stuff like this too. It's not like, by the way, this is making it sound like I was like, born in like 1955, when not that at all. It was just like one of those situations where, like, you know, I just didn't have internet. Like, everyone else had internet. Everyone else did. I just didn't have internet for a long time until, like, you know, I started paying for myself, like, legitimately. I know it sounds crazy, but I didn't. And a lot of people say, like, well, that's probably good because you didn't get scarred by the internet for a while. So yeah, probably. But my parents couldn't get a hold of it, so they instead got me like a box set of Laurel and Hardy. And at the time when I smiled, I was like, thank you so much. Like, I wasn't going to be bad. But at the time I was looking at it, I was just like, what? This isn't like The Office. This is Lord. Like, what am I going to do with this? You know what I mean? And I was like, look, I might as well try watching it. And I remember like religiously watching it over and over again and absolutely adoring it and loving it. It was such a great gift now when I look back on it, that like, it's one of those situations where like you can trust like crazy. You know, like sometimes, and here's the thing, we all know about the parent gift or the granny gift, that they give you a gift and you're like, oh, this is cool, thank you. But it's like, it's not really that great, but you still love it because it's given to you by this person. And sometimes it can be gold, sometimes it can be bad, sometimes it can be amazing. This time it was gold. The other gift I got as well, I remember I got a Game Boy SP when I was younger. And I remember like my mother, and here's the thing, this is one of those times where like I kind of like, you know, was thinking like, what's happening here? She got like a gift for me that was two secondhand games rather than one big game. Now, I wasn't going to complain about that either. I always got secondhand games. That's how you got like cheaper games. Like, you know, even when we were younger, you got cheaper games by buying them secondhand. And you can still do that now, even like on Amazon and stuff like that as well. But I remember like I got, like at first I was like, oh, I hope these work. And then second of all, it was like, oh my God. Like as a kid, I didn't even realize like how lucky I was, because I didn't know about like, you know, I didn't buy gaming magazines that much. I didn't know about these games before I played them. But I remember like she got me Pokemon Silver and Link to the Past on Game Boy. Like, as a kid, I didn't realize until I played them how amazing they were. But like, can you imagine looking back now when you think about that? That's a generational random game that your parents would get you. That's lucky as hell. And it makes me, okay, I'm gonna be honest here. It makes me think that like, and I think this is fine too, but it makes me think that like, the person in the shop told them about it, right? Like they told them like, hey, like what's a good game? And they're like this and this, you know? But that's still great too. Excuse me. I'm still okay with that as well. But that's just such like a great like, pull. So I always remember that. In terms of gifts I've given, like, to me, like I always like, and maybe like it's bad, but like I always like give like really like gifts that like I feel like people will use, I think. But I don't remember like specific, like it's usually like if I find out someone's going like on a trip or something, I usually like, you know, hey, what hotel are you going to? It's like, oh, this one. Do you want me to get you like a voucher for the hotel? And they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, 100%. Because it's like, hell, that means like like if you give me this voucher, like $100 for this hotel, that means I don't have to spend money on like drinks or food, like for the 3 days I'm there. Like that's such a good gift. And people love that. But of course, like, you know, for when you're older, like that's great. But obviously like gifts for kids is different as well. But like usually for kids, it's just like giving them toys. I bought Pokemon, I think, for like my cousins one time. And I actually got to watch my cousin finish Pokemon. We did it together. It was really, really awesome. But yeah, that's what I remember for gifts and stuff like that as well. Thank you for asking. And thank you for saying the nice thing, Zevi. The next question is from Neo Sharite. Bit of a weird one, but I'm just curious, for some reason, what's your favorite song before the year 2000? And what's your favorite song after the year 2000? That's if you have any. Okay, before the year 2000, I'm trying to think of like what would be my favorite song before the year 2000. What bands did I listen to before the year 2000? Like, I was like, you know, I'm a 2000s baby, basically. Like I was still like a little kid, you know, when the 2000s were coming in. So like I'd have to like retroactively listen to music. Let me think. I think that I listened to a lot of Linkin Park. I listened to a lot of Limp Bizkit. But I'm thinking about it now, like if you talk about now, when I was a kid, like it was like I was so into like the Hybrid Theory album, you know what I mean? One Step Closer by Linkin Park was like a big thing for me. I think that was probably 2000s. I forget the actual timing of that. But if I like as an adult, when I look back at songs for the 2000s, I would say probably it's either like Frankie's First Affair by Sade is a really good song. That's a really good song, but I'm trying to think of other like Rosanna by Toto is really great. In terms of like metal songs, like I feel like Nothing Else Matters is an unbelievably beautiful song by Metallica. Man, I'm trying to think of what would be my favorite before, because there's like a lot of like great music from that time as well, like some really superb, incredible music. Oh, Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross. Amazing song. And I've got such a long way to go to make it to the border of Mexico. So I'll pick that because it has a lot of sentimental reasons as well, because I used to hear like my parents listen to it as well. But there's so many songs like Fate No More songs, you know, Metallica, Iron Maiden. Like there's so many great groups and songs from that time that like would like infect my brain still to this day. Such an incredible like time for music and such an incredible space for music. And sometimes you hear bands where you're like, wait, like that was like back then, like when it like Smashing Pumpkins. You know what I mean? Disarm is an incredible song from back then as well that like I can listen to like over and over again. Yeah, so many incredible songs. In terms of like modern songs, my favorite song of the past like 10 years is Virtual Angel. But I'm thinking of my favorite song of all time is probably post 2000s, and I would say it's probably, I'm trying to think of like maybe which Creed and Cambria, maybe like Here We Are Juggernaut by Creed and Cambria. Shogun by Trivium is amazing too. Hearts Burst into Fire by Blunt and Valentine. But if I had to choose one, I actually might choose Virtual Angel by Artemis, because like I think it revitalized like a lot of love for me for like it was the first, because I listen to music all the time where I'm like, this is incredible, this is amazing. But Virtual Angel like changed my life. Like I'm going to see Artemis now, and like I now like K-pop, so I think Virtual Angel is probably the answer to that. Virtual Angel by Artemis. Yeah. Victoria asks, do you have any holiday traditions or things you like to enjoy this time of year? Alternatively, do you have any favorite Christmas memories? I don't really follow Christmas traditions. In fact, like I would say that like a lot of like my family goes away for Christmas now, not because they don't love each other, but because I feel like, they all have their own like families and stuff because as well. Everyone has that stuff too to do as well. So like for me personally, like I don't really like think about Christmas in that way as much. Like I like the actual feeling of it. But one thing I do every year is I watch a Muppets Christmas Carol. I think it's probably the best Christmas movie ever made. So like I continually watch that over and over again every year, and it gives me such high spirit. I think it's life-changing as a movie. It's so beautiful. But yeah, that's definitely what gets me to the spirit. When I was younger, Christmas was so important to me, and I feel like the movies it's all movies. I know it's all movies, but like the Christmas specials on Cartoon Network, I used to love watching them. We used to watch Santa Claus all the time, the movie Santa Claus. The Grinch is such a great movie to watch at Christmas, the one with Jim Carrey. Like there's so many amazing things that that are centered around movies and TV shows that I really love too. I also like when I was like a teenager, I loved watching the Office Christmas specials at Christmas time because they were so funny and so magical, and that really meant a lot to me too. Some of like the cartoons I used to watch as a kid, because again, like I think that Family Guy's become very cruel. To the point that and here's the thing, I'm not gonna hide it. As a kid, like I was like so into Family Guy because I was a kid, now I watch, I'm like, oh, that was kind of mean, that was kind of a cruel joke. But I remember like the Family Guy Christmas specials, like Kiss Save Santa episode and stuff like that too, like are incredible too. And and the Simpsons Christmas specials, yeah, to me like it all centers around the idea of watching Christmas specials and watching Christmas movies. Yeah, in terms of memories I have, like I talked about like the stuff with like gifts I used to get as well, but like I think my favorite Christmas memories are the ones where like I would wake up to like the sound of someone being like, Santa's here, Santa came, and like it's so clear in my mind, this idea in my head of like what when you're like, you're half asleep, you're like, oh, even as a kid you're like, okay. Like you're like almost like on autopilot, and you don't even wake up until like 3 hours after this. And one of the craziest things about it was like when you think back now with the stuff with Christmas, like we woke up at like 6 a.m. to get our presents, and like, quote unquote Santy was probably like wrecked. They're like, oh God, why are you waking up this early? But yeah, it was one of those things where like we were like so excited. And also the nervousness before you woke up in the morning. Like I think that like it used to take me 3 hours to go to sleep. And I remember that fondly now, which is weird. I remember it fondly. Yeah, that would be my answer to that. Thank you, Victoria. Solvix asks, have you played the Fatal Frame or Project Zero games? It's a favorite series of games of mine. I have not, but it's always been on my radar. It's always been something I've wanted to play. I think like one of the things about the Project Zero games is that like from afar, the way that they're kind of like sold, and I think it's true for me anyway, is that they've always been like the most terrifying series of games consistently. Because here's the thing, I think there's like games that are absolutely terrifying that like I look back and I'm like, oh my God, how did I play that? Like the Siren series, I think they're so scary. But like consistently, every horror fan talks about the idea of how Fatal Frame like is just, it puts you in situations that like are just so scary that like you shouldn't do. And that's why they're so cool, right? Their idea like of going up and taking a picture of a ghost or whatever, like your instinct is to run away from the ghost. But in this, you go towards it. To me, this, as I said, the scariest games of all time are the Siren series and White Day. But like, again, I don't know why I've never played Fatal Frame. I think it's just because I heard of Fatal Frame as a kid, and then I didn't know it was called Project Zero over here. So whenever I would see Project Zero, I'd be like, what's Project Zero? But it's called Project Zero over here in Ireland. But yeah, I have there's no reason for me not to play them. It'd be one of those situations where like, I'd love to play them on the channel, but I want to know like how many people would actually like to see me play it. But I know that they're incredible games. I know they're games that people like love dearly. I know they're games that people like really want to play, and I really would like to see me play sometime as well. And as a survival horror fan, it's like it's a dream to have a whole like. And if you think of it that way, like that's amazing. So obviously think of it this way, like yeah, I can think of it like I haven't played them, but what instead if I think of it this way, I have a whole host of amazing games that are still on the horizon in this horror franchise. Like, that's lucky as heck. The fact that I can say to myself, you have so many games left to play in a horror franchise. There's no horror franchise besides indie games that I can say that. I played like most of the Silent Hill games. I played all the Resident Evil games. You know what I mean? I played all the Siren games. I've played some of the Clock Tower games. Like I've played like a lot of games like in horror franchises, but there's this one horror franchise that's pretty famous that I haven't touched. Like, and that feels good. that like that's just amazing, because then it's like whenever I do get to go through the franchise, I have like a whole host of horror games that I get to try out. And I guess it's design of characters, the design of ghosts. From what I've seen from trailers, it like is so well designed in terms of art style too. Yeah, but like I would definitely like to play them, and it's so exciting as well, the idea that I can get to play them. I think it's like for me, I love that idea. I love that idea. It's like, you know, instead of being like, oh, I never got to play them, that sucks, it's being like, I get to play them. And I see it by every franchise as well, by the way. It's like, I've never played Uncharted, but like, I get to play them someday. Yeah. So the answer to your question, like, I haven't played the Project Zero games, but I know they're amazing. I know that they're incredible. I know they have a great ambiance and great style. And I know they're misunderstood sometimes too by a lot of people who aren't horror fans, but horror fans love them. So I would definitely like to play some of those games sometimes. Leon says, been on a Resident Evil grind again. Yes. So which plot of survival horror, be it video game or movie, do you think you'll be able to survive, and why? So we have to take one thing out of the equation first. I know all the Resident Evil games on the back of my hand, so I would be able to get out of the Spencer Mansion, right? Now, people might be like, Calvin, no, you wouldn't. True. Because, right, and here's why. Yes, I know all the tricks and all the puzzles, and I know how to survive all this stuff as well, but still, you have to do what the reason why Jill Valentine survived the Spencer Mansion, right? That's not a spoiler, but if anyone says a spoiler, she's in other games. She's in Resident Evil 3, come on. But the reason why like she was able to get through the Spencer Mansion in such an incredible way, you know, is because she was able to like, she's an operative. She's a freaking military operative that like was able to do all this stuff. And that's why people like sometimes, I remember when people were like, I prefer other games because like it's not scary being like whatever. It's like if you put an ordinary person in the same situations that Jill Valentine was in, they'd be gone. And that's why I think I probably wouldn't survive the Resident Evil games, even though I love the Resident Evil games. You know, it's one of those, like, I guess I would know all the secrets of the Spencer Mansion, but I would also, like, die. Like, a zombie would bite me, or, like, a spider would get me, or a creature or a hunter would kill me. Like, it would be so difficult. And, like, you have to look at as well, like, the way you play these games. Like, say, like, the Resident Evil 2 remake. To truly get through that game, you have to, like, avoid creatures like crazy. And by the way, in real life, you're not getting a safe zone. You're not getting safe rooms. They're coming in there to absolutely destroy you. Yeah, like that's the way I would look at it. That's the way I would look at it. If I could, I'm trying to think of one I could survive though. I don't know. I think a lot of them I would just give up. Actually, you know what? I'll say White Day. Because even though White Day is the scariest horror game like I've ever played, I think that there's a thing where, yes, the janitor is scary when he chases after you. Yes, there's ghosts all around the room. Yes, there's like this horrifying thing where like, you know, you don't know where you can bump into a ghost. But I think the tasks are a lot easier than some other horror games. Because like, yes, it's like, stop this, you know, as this thing is going crazy, try to find these different talismans. Yes, that's difficult. But at the same time, right, it's not fighting like a Mr. X or getting punched by Mr. X or like, you know, trying to fight through the sewers and these crazy monsters. It's not, you know, fighting a spider in the Spencer Mansion. It is like a those things are like, you know, you need to be like military trained. In this case, like hiding from the janitor, you know, doing a few puzzles, trying to avoid like a fire from taking place, running away from someone. I probably could do that better than I could like do the CIA, not CIA operative, the military operative stuff, if that makes sense. So I say White Day I could survive, but there'd be a very low chance. And it's just because the tasks like run away from the janitor, use the ladder to climb into the vent, all this stuff is stuff like you could do, but that doesn't mean I'd be able to do it. I don't think there's any other horror game I'd survive, like legitimately. Legit, there's no other horror game I'd survive. Yeah. Maybe some of the Fears to Fathom games. Like, I think it's possible to survive a home invasion scenario. I think it's possible to survive a cult situation in the woods. I think it's possible. But the reason why I think I wouldn't survive it, and I want to as well, I keep going back to how I wouldn't survive it, is that there's certain situations in Fears to Fathom where like you almost like are certain to die in the games. Because if anyone avoids some of these deaths, legitimately, it means they looked up something beforehand. And you might be like, well, some people do an accident. Yeah, they do an accident, but like legitimately, like, this game counts on you doing very natural things in your life. Walking into the kitchen, opening up your bathroom door, all this stuff that you would naturally do. And a lot of it's trial and error. And like, you could say, well, yeah, someone might get lucky and not walk in that way. But the game is so well designed that it relies on you to like do the natural thing. So I feel like there's not one, For example, like Carson House, I feel like there's one part where everyone dies, and like I've watched people play it now ever since I played it, and I haven't found one playthrough where someone doesn't die in that moment, right? And like I feel like I would die in that moment. You know what I mean too? Because again, if you without knowledge of the games, you would die. But yeah, that's my answer anyway. Is that yes and no, yes and maybe no. And Hypernova asks, what was your favorite type of weapon? It can be real or fictional. I don't really have like a favorite real world weapon. But like in terms of fictional weapons, I think there's like, you know, a lot of iconic ones. You think of like the Buster Sword and Cloud, you know, that's an iconic weapon for me. But if I had to think of like my favorite weapon in like, say like a story or a video game or something like that, I like the megaphone in Jujutsu Kaisen. That's great. I think it's all like one of like the coolest things about Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think of like in terms of like video games as well, because there's so many that will be so cool, but like Tidus' sword that was gifted him by Waka in Final Fantasy X, the blue sword with the that was his brother's sword. Such a gorgeous design, the water flowing through it. It fits Tidus' story so well. It really, like, you know, as a character, really meshes well with Tidus as well in that sense. So yeah, there would definitely be like something like that as well. I'm trying to think of any other ones as well. There's so many. That's the problem. There's so many that are so really great. I'm not saying it's a problem with the question, by the way. It's like you know, we're overloading with what we could answer as well with this stuff too. I love in Dark Souls, one of my favorite weapons ever is the S-Stock or the Baldur side sword. I love the look of them. I love the idea of like a side sword or a straight sword like that as well. They look so cool. Also, I'm a big fan of a club in Dark Souls as well, like just like straight up like gigantic great club as well. I love those type of things as well. I've never played the game, but the Gunblade in Final Fantasy VIII is always really incredible. It's really incredible. If I had to choose one, right, out of every single weapon, all the really great weapons that you can see in these games, which there's so many more that you can, like, you know, say, like, you know, Leia's staff in Tales of Azalea, you know what I mean, that way as well. The gun umbrella that Navia has is such an incredible one too, that like honestly, like it's genuinely so freaking awesome. If I had to choose two, like if I had to choose two weapons that really, like, I guess in a way, well, no, three weapons that connect to me, right? I'll choose three, or I'll cop out a little bit and choose three, right? The first being the sword that I said, Tidus' sword in Final Fantasy X, the significance of that, how well it suits him, how beautiful it is, like when it's on his person or near his person. It's like really an unbelievably like incredible weapon to look at, but also again the significance, as we said, so amazing, like legitimately so amazing. And again, like it's one of those things where like I genuinely like every time I see it, it like makes me feel warm, right? There's also the Master Sword in Zelda, but you know what I actually like more? You know what I like more than the Master Sword? Is the sword in Skyward Sword. Like I generally like prefer in a lot of ways the I prefer in like so many ways, and maybe this is like weird. Maybe it is weird, I don't know. But the sword and the sword you get before you get the Master Sword and Skyward Sword is always really incredible to me. I love the idea of having a different color weapon. And maybe like it sounds like I'm like, you know, maybe being a bit of a contrarian that mean, but like it just looks great. It looks a really great looking sword. And then the third one is like the Magnum in Resident Evil. That's a big one for me. And the reason being is that like it has so much mystique. Like when you get the Magnum, you know you're about to do some damage. It's a big part of the game. You have to like conserve your ammo if you really want to utilize the Magnum in an amazing way. If you don't utilize it in a great way, then you're going to have like you're going to have a harder time on bosses. So it really is about like that inventory management. So my answer would be Tidus' sword for the emotional connection, the Skyward Sword, first sword, the blue sword, for the beauty of it, and also because I love Skyward Sword, and again, it's one of those things where it feels like we're starting off on a journey. The start of the journey is always so amazing for me in Zelda games. 100% that. And then the third one will be the Magnum for the mystique and the idea of using it and utilizing it in a way that like makes it feel very special. If I had to choose one other, I know I'm like copying out so much here. If I had to choose like one other, if in terms of like weapons and beyond that, Fran's bow in Final Fantasy 12, the way she wields it, the way she like uses it, it looks so cool. It matches her vibe as well, and she's such a cool character too. But that will be my picks for my favorite weapons for sure. Esmanako says, what's your one moment from the past year that we'll never forget? Video game moment, channel milestone, really anything that stuck out from the past year? It's interesting. Video game moment, channel milestone. I think that's going to Nagkarai for the first time. Incredible moment. Starting Honkai Star Rail and hearing the music in the title screen, it hits me so hard still. Like the they had really beautiful music at the start. Weirdly enough, every time I got an ending route in Last Defense Academy, hit me hard. Still remember all those things. Silent Hill F is a big thing for me. I got to play Silent Hill F, and like instantly finding another top 10 favorite game of all time was a huge deal for me. Connecting and like loving this game so much to the point that I played it like 5 times was a big deal. And like when I think about that, forever, like this game will be intertwined with my love for games in general. And like I can't thank that game enough for how beautiful and amazing it is. In terms of channel milestones, I'll just say something that's pretty amazing. It's the fact that I thought and maybe this isn't a milestone, but like last year, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to do this beyond a year. When I started the Patreon and did like all this stuff, I was like, okay, I'll do this job for like a year, and then like everything might fall apart and like it might not be as good. And then I'll next year I'll like do something else, or I'll tone it down or whatever. Like, I remember when I got to like last year in November, I was like, people are still here. This is awesome. Then I got to like January, I'm like, well, people are still here. Then I remember I was like in like the summer, I was like, man, like the same names that have popped up for years are still here. And here we are ending the year, and this is still my job. Like, that's insane to me. And by the way, still on the same level of like money that I'm making. Like, see, it's still on the, and again, I know it's going to go down at some point as well. Like January is really bad for months for ad review. But yeah, maybe that's like, maybe not a milestone, but I'm trying to think of like channel milestones this last year that we got. Because it's one of those things where like I understand that like it's kind of like maybe not the nicest to hear when someone says, yeah, I'm still here. What a great thing. I'm still here. And that's like my answer. But like that legitimately is like kind of my answer, is that like I'm like the fact that I still have like a lot of people who follow me and still a lot of people who love the channel. The thing I'm most proud of always with the channel as well is getting a lot of like comments from people saying that like, this literally gets them through the day, or this gets them through the week. This gets them through their time within this, in this mortal realm. Like that to me is insane to me, because it's like I'll get that comment like once a day of someone being like, your channel means the world to me. And I'm like, what the, like, how did I get this lucky to be here and have people like really like the channel in that sense? And the community's only gotten tighter and tighter with that stuff as well. But it's been so incredible, like, seeing people just fall in love with the channel like that. I'm trying to think of like one specific moment with the channel that was like, and I obviously talked with the Honkai stuff, and like going to Nagkarai for the first time was really incredible, and doing my first Lantern Rite actually was oh my god, that was incredible too. I love that. I would say in terms of the channel stuff, it's definitely like the Last Defense Academy stuff, which I love so much. But also I think catching up to Genshin was huge for me. It was such a sad but like incredible moment for me, because I was like, this is a year-long journey that culminated in this moment, and I was very happy to be there for that. But yeah, I would say starting Honkai Star Rail, the Last Defense Academy stuff, like doing all those routes, it's so ingrained in my mind. People still loving the channel, still doing this as a job. Going to Nagkarai for the first time, doing my first Lantern Rite. All that stuff, like all together, really absolutely incredible stuff. And now I will say the other thing for the channel is K-pop, right? Virtual Angel by Artemis. I listened to K-pop before and I was like, this is great. Like I listened to Zero Base One, I was like, oh, this is really good. I love this stuff, and it's like really fun and charming, and I'm really into these groups. Then I listened to Virtual Angel for the first time and I was like, okay, this is incredible. So yeah, I would say that as well, the Virtual Angel stuff as well. Thank you. And the question I asked for the community video this month, which was, which character in a game would you want to go for a drink with or to go to lunch with? Like for me, for me personally, I said Garmin from Genshin because the vibes would be amazing, or Fran from Final Fantasy 12 as she would give amazing advice. Also, the people could tell me just what they were up to, movies, TVs, any hobbies and stuff like this too. And we can talk about stuff from there as well. And the first answer came from Leanne. And it said, I'm getting a drink with Ichiban from Like a Dragon or Dante from Devil May Cry. It would be the craziest and most fun night out ever, honestly. And they also say, I've been working on some writing and I've been replaying Resident Evil since I'm feeling the hype for the latest game. The trailer that recently came out was fun since I love Leon. He's my second favorite protag after Ethan Winters. What's so funny is that like my favorite Resident Evil protag is Jill Valentine. I love Jill Valentine. Then it's Rebecca. And then I think Leon would be up there as well, but I actually like really love like Jill. Jill is like my favorite Resident Evil character. And actually what's so interesting about the trailer as well that came out, like I didn't expect him to show Leon. I thought I was gonna be surprised, but since apparently he has like a big lion's share of the gameplay, it makes sense they showed him. Because I think nowadays a lot of developers are too afraid to just shake up the gameplay like that, because I think, you know, they saw what happened to one specific, I'm not gonna say which game to spoil it, but there's one specific other game that happened where like there was a whole transition of who you play as. And while I loved it, a lot of other players complained. I think no one wants that fire anymore. So just like, hey, just be prepared. The character you're thinking you're playing as is not that character always. You're gonna be playing as another character, you know, and I think it's actually like fair marketing, especially after what they've seen happen in the past with some stuff, but I still love being surprised sometimes too. And getting a drink with Ichiban from Like a Dragon. I don't know Dante very well. I haven't played the Devil May Cry games, but I do know with like Ichiban, he's the type of guy that would like drink all night with you, have such a party with you. He'd wake up and you know for a fact this is happening. Yeah, he would get you back to your apartment, carry you there, and then he's gonna wake up and be like, with like no clothes and a notice on him that says like, you're gonna die in 2 days. That's Ichiban's life. that's Ichiban's life. He's gonna be like literally waking up being like, oh god, where's my clothes, where's everything? And then he's gonna like have a death threat upon him, like this big story that's gonna happen as well. But yeah, I think that like Ichiban would be a great choice to go for a drink with. I think it'd be really, really fun, especially since like we know he's like such a caring person. He wouldn't let you down on the night out. Yeah, so yeah, Ichiban would be fantastic. And also when it comes to Resident Evil, I'm also excited for Resident Evil. Requiem is it's so funny because like I don't play a lot of new games on release unless it's for the channel sometimes. So like it's weird because I'm like, oh, Resident Evil Requiem, when am I going to be playing that? It's like I suppose on release, right? Like it's one of my favorite franchises. It is one of my favorite franchises, but I think it's just because I've been so out of tune to playing games on day one sometimes. That like I'm constantly reminded like, hey, Resident Evil's coming out soon. And I love Resident Evil. I love it with a passion. Resident Evil 1 Remake is my favorite horror game and in my top 10 favorite games of all time. I played all the new Resident Evil games, and every Resident Evil game I played them and loved them dearly. But I think it's like a matter of like, you know, when you come out, you go out of tune with like, you know, new games all the time. But every week I'm reminded, oh yeah, Requiem's going to be coming out. Requiem's going to be coming out, which is a big deal. It's a really big deal. Thank you, Liam. The next one is from Neo Sharite. And I said, I'm 100% having a drink with Yai Miko because I have a massive crush on her. I'm joking, I'll probably have a drink with Ryuji from P5 in my local pub down the road. That generally seems like the most chill and fun night, some real bro vibes up in here. So as for me, I've been gone for like almost 2 years. Yeah. And I can tell you that as of a year and a half ago, I started creating my own universe that I now really want to turn to a manga because I'm better at drawing than whipping out random ass synonyms and fancy words on paper every 2 seconds. This whole thing started out with just me listening to music and making random scenes in my head. And then I started gaining coherency. So I was like, Leo, let's make a story out of this. So I did, and I wanted to keep going. So I was just like, you know what? Let's make the whole universe instead of just one planet. And let's make this whole story arc one of a much bigger story. And I'm going insane because I have too many ideas for my brain to comprehend and make use of them in time before I forget. I also got back into Geometry Dash again. I swear, I have an on and off marriage with this game, and I can never escape. It's been 11 years since I started playing it, and I think I need help, but I'll never lose skill. So back to beating demons again. So, first of all, Yai Miko, if you do have a crush on her, that's fine. You know, I think a lot of people do. But also with Ryuji from Persona 5, I think he's another character who just like, I think he has a good combination of being funny. Like he has a fun little like crazy charm to him. And also he is another person who you want to have your back on a night out. Because again, like people like sometimes perceive Ryuji as being kind of like a little bit like, you know, silly, or maybe like I think so. I remember I saw someone saying he was like he can act like self-centered. I think he's just like very like over the top sometimes, but he actually like is the first person to step up and, you know, defend his friends, I think. So I think he's another person you'd want to have your back on a night out or a drink or something as well. But it's just a casual drink as well. I think he also would be like a really charming person to just have like a lovely conversation with as well. Because he is just like a great person in most ways. You also talked about this this comic. Was it a manga you want to create as well? I think it's so great. I think it's so great. I love the idea. And it's very ambitious, right? Because like I'm personally creating a comic myself. And one of the things that everyone has told me about creating comics is like, you know, you'll have so much fun with it. But so, and I'm guessing you'll feel the same way in your shower, right? Some days, and I feel this way a lot of times actually when I'm making it. Some days, like, you get really demotivated. Some days, like, you're like, when I finished the first chapter, I was like, wow, that took a long time. And I was like, that's just the first chapter. And it is like this feeling of like, holy F, this might take a bit of time, you know? Which is not a bad thing. Like, you know, it's actually not a terrible thing. Sometimes some things just take time. Some take time to do. And I think that's like not a terrible thing. In this case, it's like one of those things where like, yeah, it's going to take some time. But it's still like a very cool passion thing to have and a very cool passion project. And like all the ideas that are going on in your head, I think it's actually really cool that at least you have, you know, a lot of ideas might be better than no ideas. Because I think that happens a lot, like when people want to create something, is like, you know they want to create something, but they don't know what the idea is. But then also I think, you know, you having the ability to draw, which is fantastic, and then also being like, well, I also know that I have an idea, is going to like actually lend well to this, because at least then you have like a direction, which, you know, sometimes like when I first started drawing like a couple of years back, it was more just like, whatever, you know, I'll draw whatever and like, you know, wing it. I even drew a comic like a while back, and I tried to draw like a little TV show thing as well. But it was like, didn't have any direction, because again, I didn't have an idea. I was just winging it just to see if I could do something, which sometimes is okay, but it's good that you have a direction as well. And with Geometry Dash, I actually like Geometry Dash is an interesting game because it's like really good time sync, and some of the stuff can be really, really impressive. If I'm not mistaken, we watched a lot of Geometry Dash in Roma Reacts, right? We did, didn't we? Was that you who set this stuff in, or was that someone else? But I remember Geometry Dash in Roma Reacts like 2 years ago around there. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember just watching some like cool Geometry Dash levels where you're like, holy crap, this is like actually really impressive. Because some of the stuff can be so impressive. And even playing that game can be really impressive too, because you have to have like obviously like patience, but also at the same time too, you have like a timing and all this stuff too as well. But yeah, really cool hearing about this stuff as well, Neo Sharite. Thanks for letting me know. The next one is from Luna. If I could go to lunch with any video game character, it would be Rain from Tales of Symphonia. I would love to listen to what kind of topics she is getting ready to teach, as well as any research she may be doing. Rain was a character who drove me to continue my chosen path in university, which has greatly impacted me to this day. Fantastic. So what I've been doing lately, one of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy XIV, has recently added an addition to my favorite type of content that is offered in a new Deep Dungeon. Deep Dungeons are a mix of classic dungeon crawl and a rogue-like that can be done with 1 to 4 players, a combination of combat classes. They are usually 100 floors, with each being a random selection of randomized monsters, traps, layouts, and possible rewards on a boss floor. I always like the idea of randomized dungeons though, that sounds really fun. The new Deep Dungeon is called Pilgrim's Traverse and is a Fae-themed, which means you can encounter special traps that temporarily turn you into a Fae, or you can even summon King Titania themselves to cover your aid. I have lovely groups of loot goblins, explosive trap enthusiasts, friends that I've been joining each week for treasure hunting and being chased by mimics. It has become one of my highlights of my week, and I cannot wait for it to run it again and be reminded why cactars are some of the scariest creatures in Final Fantasy. Oh, they are. So first of all, I played Tales of Symphonia. Can I be completely honest? It's the one game in the Tales series that I didn't get to like fully finish, because I got to this dungeon, and maybe I could talk about you in the Patreon chats if you want to ask me about it. There was a dungeon I got to that I just couldn't get past. And it wasn't I couldn't get past. It was like easy, but like they keep making you go back and forth. I don't know what dungeon it was. They keep making you leave the dungeon, come back to it, leave the dungeon, come back to it over and over again, like in succession. And I got to a point where I was like, I don't even want to do this. So like I was like, I've other games to play, I'll come back to this. So I never got back to it. And I love the Tales series. Like I love Tales of Xillia. I love the new Tales of Arise. Tales of the Abyss is absolutely incredible. Tales of Vesperia. Even Tales of Zestiria is amazing too. Like all these games, like I love them dearly. I really do. Tales of Grace Zeph recently, which I finished as well. Like it's awesome, but I just never got back to it. But Rain, I think as a character, like is not like a bad choice either, because at least then like, I feel like, you're following something that did make you passionate, that did make you think about stuff. And it would probably be like a culmination for you as well. It's like, hey, like, if you're real, we get to talk. Like you changed my chosen path and the path I went on as well. That's really cool. It's a really cool idea. And then with the stuff with the Final Fantasy XIV stuff, my friend is obsessed with Final Fantasy XIV. I always wanted to get into it, but my thing was like, it's very daunting. It's very like intimidating to me. But this idea of like, it's kind of like randomized dungeons with randomized monsters, trap layouts, and all this stuff as well, sounds really fun. And especially if you're doing it with friends as well, it keeps the surprise going. And I think that's what like is so cool about randomized stuff and randomized dungeons to me, is that like you never truly know what you're gonna like encounter. I think that like the first, it's kind of like SCP Containment Breach, the way they have randomized maps there. I love that idea because again, it makes every single moment in those games to be like so fantastic. And I think that's like what I I truly adore and love about the random aspect of it. Now, it's always something I want. Some games I want not to be random, but like if you're playing with friends and you're discovering new stuff, every day, new avenue is a surprise. That'd be really fantastic things as well. Like especially when you're doing it with pals, or as you called them in this case, what was it? Goblins? Is it trap enthusiasts or friends? Is that what it's called? But yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, and it's a good thing to pass the time. It's a good thing to like have like that companionship and over something you all really like as well. I think that's just like a really, really fantastic thing to have, no matter what, is all this time with each other in a game that you all truly like. And a game that's also like gotten so many awards and is so incredible, because I know it's incredible because my friend's obsessed with it as well. That sounds like I'm saying like, well, if my friend's obsessed with it, then like, of course it's incredible. But you know what I mean? It's like if people are obsessed with it, of course, like it's going to be like a game that people like as well. But I actually like, know it's going to be good as well. So yeah, that's really cool to hear as well. Malcolm sends in, he said in the answer to who we wanted to like have a drink with, Nagito Kamaida. He might be crazy, but without all the mind control stuff, he's got going on. I'm sure he'd be cool to hang out with. Honestly, like Malcolm, do you like bungee jumping and stuff? I guess. Are you like a risk taker? Are you someone who like takes a few risks, possibly? But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Like, I think as a mind, Nagito is like so interesting. He has such an interesting mind. And they also say I haven't been really watching stuff or playing games lately with so much work. But the Christmas holiday coming up, I'm planning on catching up on Genshin videos, as I'm very excited to play the rest of the Archon quest. Fantastic. Yeah, like with Nagito, like I think what you're going for here. Maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But like the idea of having a mind like that in front of you is a tempting prospect, because I think like we always like look at Nagito as a character that like is almost like a puzzle to me. Like he's bit by bit you're like solving the puzzle or trying to solve the puzzle. That doesn't mean it's actually going to like work out in that way. But he is like a very like how do I say it? Like a terrifying character that has a lot of interesting stuff to offer in terms of story beats and in terms of like how you interact with him. So sitting down for a drink with him and getting to casually talk to him, I think would actually let you learn a lot more about him than just like trying to decipher his weird actions throughout the game, you know what I mean? Because learning like how he sees the world, maybe his opinions on like social things, politics even maybe, would be a really interesting thing as well. Maybe not politics, maybe, who knows? But you know what I mean? Like no, like I think you get to know someone if you ask them like, hey, what would you do if you won $1 million? I always think that like, you get to know someone better than asking them maybe just always about their past in that way too. In terms of catching up on stuff, that's always great as well. I talked about in my Patreon just recently, in the Patreon newsletter, which you can get for $1, that I actually am taking a break in January, but I don't know if I think I'll have one extra day. Really, like it is going to be a break, but I'm using it to go see a concert. So like, it's not like I'm going to be catching up on games. It's more just I'll be going to a concert overseas. But I still think it's going to be one of those things where like it's going to be really good. And I always love the idea of getting some time to catch up the games. You know what I always say to myself, and maybe Malcolm, you'll be the same. Whenever I'm like, I'm going to catch up like with all the games I have now, man. I got 3 days off. Here I go. Just wait. I'm going to be catching up all these games. And then I spend like, a fun few hours just watching YouTube videos. You know what I mean? It's fun. But like, I did not catch up on the games that I wanted to. Like this weekend, for example, I had 2 days obviously off. I take 2 days off every week. I was like, okay, I'm going to play Tales of Xillia and really catch up on this and really put a dent in this. And I was thinking to myself, you're going to play like 10 hours over the weekend. You're going to play 10 hours and end up playing like 5, which still is good, but still, I didn't catch up as much as I would. But yeah, like I hope you get to have a good, enjoyable break. I hope you have an enjoyable Christmas and you get to play whatever games you want. And also at the same time too, I hope that Nagito doesn't hurt you, honestly. That's it for the community video this month, guys. Thank you so much for the people that sent in answers or sent in questions as well. And if you want to do that as well, you can check in the description below how to do that. And that'll be every single month we do this as well. I want to say thank you to my patrons at the highest tier and my YouTube members at the highest tier as well. That being Tyfire2, Jamie Bull, Jonathan Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Felicius Felix, Guild, Radish Shanusta, Link Smarky, Assassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Leon, Ike Kasparian, Jared Beanham, Neo Sharite, and highest tier by YouTube, Roygum7, Blasco, and Lucinagi. See you guys.